What's going on, Jerome's? The week one action from the opening stanza of the 2022 NFL season it's good times. I mean, football is back. Not only that, college football has been phenomenal too, by the way. Upsets galore. Love to see it. And in the National Football League, you have no idea. Like every single year, there's constant turnover. Who's good, who's bad, who makes the playoffs, who doesn't. And it's so tough, like being in a survivor league, being in a losers survivor league. I mean, it's tough to peg who's going to win, who's going to lose. We're not even talking about spread, like straight up, like who's going to win, who's going to lose. It's extremely difficult. And one game remains, Broncos visiting the Seahawks. Would it shock you if Russell Wilson goes into Seattle and drops a deuce and then they lose to Geno Smith? Honestly, nothing would surprise me at this point, but wanted to go through recap the games that were, because it was a fun opening week for the NFL. Thursday, we already talked about that to a degree. The Rams might be in trouble. The Bills look like Super Bowl contenders. That's all we need. The Saints and the Falcons. Man, I feel bad for Falcons fans. Like, how many leads can you actually blow? I mean, historically, going back to that Super Bowl, but historically, doesn't matter who the coach is, who the QB is, who is the GM, whatever. They just can't hang on to leads. And Jameis Winston, respect, eating a W, putting that team on his back. He was dinged up. He was injured. He came back, 2 touchdowns. Jarvis Juice Landry getting loose as well. Plus, setting up the game winner by Will Lutz. So, I mean, the Saints-Falcons, low-key, is one of the better rivalries in the National Football League. It gets vitriolic between the Saints fans and the Falcons fans. So the fact that the Saints did this, coming back in the Falcons Stadium, I mean, if you're a Saints fan leaving, isn't both of the stadiums sponsored by Mercedes? Doesn't matter. But yeah, leaving the Falcons Stadium, that's got to be rough. It's got to be weird. Vikings play the Saints week 4 in London. That's going to be a tough game. I mean, the Vikings got a couple of tough games. We'll get to the Eagles here in a second. Then you got the Bears and the Niners. So this one was rough. So the Bears, I'm still convinced that the Bears are going to be major garbaggio. You know, the whole Ryan Poles, Matt Eberflus, the IKEA toilet, it's not going to be good. Justin Fields, he deserves better. That offensive line is garbage. And this game, when the monsoon and the rain and the weather, it really covered up a lot of deficiencies that the Bears have, because the Niners weren't able to get a firm pass rush going. Also, it cuts both ways. I mean, the Bears weren't able to do so either. And Trey Lance, his NFL debut as a starter, didn't go so hot. And it wasn't all weather related, and it was really a struggle this entire game. Getting ready for Vikings-Packers, I was just watching this game out of the corner of my eye, and it was just disgusting, man. It's rough. But the Bears, eventually they do get it done at home, Soldier Field, well, for now, until they move to Arlington. But the Bears, I think this may be the high water mark. I mean, they still might end up going 1-16. The Niners, they need some answers. And the specter of maybe them trading Jimmy G to the Cowboys, now that Dak needs surgery on his thumb, they're going to be stuck with Trey Lance. Hopefully Trey, he's my guy. Pride of Marshall, Minnesota. Hopefully he starts panning out, but of course not against the Vikings. Then you got the Steelers and Bengals. By the way, could you imagine what the reaction would be if Kirk Cousins threw 4 interceptions in a game? Because Joe Burrow did that. He did, including his first pass of the season was a pick 6 to Minka. And that set the tone. Steelers held on at the end. The got done in overtime. But, I mean, what an absolutely bonkers weekend. I mean, there's 2 games that could have been tied 20-20. And the Steelers, I'm not buying them. But, division games are always a little bit wonky. The Bengals, they have an improved offensive line, but it seems like there's a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover here, at least in one game. And I'm not buying Trubisky. I'm not buying this or that or the other thing, but it's rough. I mean, the Bengals they got all the offensive star power in the world. Mixon had a good game. Jamar Chase obviously did great, but I don't know. Maybe it's like Bengals, Steelers, like little brother syndrome still, but no, didn't get it done. Eagles almost gave this one away. I mean, the Lions and Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown, they made this a game at the end, but the Eagles held on 38-35. I do think that the Eagles have a chance to be a very tough team. If Jalen Hurts can continue to progress, I really like his leadership. Obviously, the mobility is there. If he can get a little bit more accurate, he could be extremely dangerous. Offensive line is fantastic. Their defense is good. They got weapons all over the place. A.J. Brown is going to be legitimately an issue Monday night against the Vikings. So, I don't know. But I think it's more of a testament that the Eagles... the Lions, like, they believe in Dan Campbell, and even though they got punched in the mouth, they were down 24-14 at halftime. They still fought and clawed their way back into this game. They just came up a little bit short, but overall, I mean, the Eagles are going to be one of the better teams in the NFC, and the Lions are probably on their way. Speaking of teams going in different directions, so Mike McDaniel gets a win in his debut down on South Beach, 20-7 against the Patriots. Mac Jones got hurt in this game as well. Tua was fine. Credit to Tyreek Hill for snatching away an interception. Very, very easily interceptable ball from Tua. But Tyreek Hill, 8 catches for 94 yards. Tua threw for 270 and 1 score. And the Patriots just couldn't get anything right. And I think that this team potentially is being held together by like duct tape and chewing gum and like baling wire, because they don't really have an OC. They got Matt Patricia and Joe Judge, calling offensive plays, even though they're defensive and special teams guy respectively. And I don't know. I mean, with Belichick, obviously he's one of the fantastic coaches of all time. Great defensive mind, but it's also really easy when you got Tom Brady and a weak ass division every single year, where you basically get 6 free wins. It's like the free space in bingo. Ravens. So the Ravens go into New York and they ruin the Joe Flacco Bowl. So they win 24-9. Lamar Jackson. So Lamar, him and the Ravens didn't agree on a contract, and then of course, it leaked out the deal that he reportedly turned down, and it makes Lamar look bad, especially to the fans. But he wanted the guaranteed money, and he's betting on himself. And could Lamar pull a 2012 Joe Flacco, where Flacco bet on himself, didn't sign an extension, they win the Super Bowl, and then the Ravens have to give him all the money, because what are you going to do? You're going to get rid of your Super Bowl winning quarterback. But Lamar really impressed me. Not only has he added good weight, 20, 25 pounds. It's going to help him with durability, giving a style of play, but his accuracy has gotten a lot better. That dime that he dropped to Bateman, looking really sexy out there. And Joe Flacco, I mean, any game where Joe Flacco's thrown 59 times, that's not going to be a good game. But I do love me some Michael Carter. I love me some Elijah Moore. I think the Jets, once Zach Wilson gets back, I think they're going to be something that they're going to be pretty legit. Speaking of legit, so the commies hang on at home against the upstart Jaguars. Carson Wentz, he threw 4 touchdowns. Is this starting to be shades of 2017 Carson Wentz, where he was in the MVP conversation, actually ended up second team All-Pro that season, even though he missed a handful of games due to the ACL, and of course Nick Foles allegedly won them a Super Bowl. But, the commies could be legit. I love me some Scary Terry. Jahan Dotson coming out of Penn State is really interesting as well. Curtis Samuel. Jaguars, I think the Jaguars are still a little ways away. They obviously have talent because they've had a ton of draft picks as of late. Christian Kirk looked good in his debut with the Jaguars. Got paid a ton of money. James Robinson coming back, much to the chagrin of my Travis Etienne-led fantasy team. And who knows? But yeah, nice win for Ron Rivera and company there. Browns. So Browns Panthers, the Baker Mayfield Bowl and the whole hey Baker, whip their ass and all that stuff, or F them or whatever. And either way, the Browns. Jabroni Brisket is a serviceable whatever quarterback, but this is all about Nick Chubb. This is all about Kareem Hunt. They got it done on the ground. Stefanski, through smoke and mirrors, they got it done. Nick Chubb had 141 yards on the ground. Baker Mayfield, he wasn't any great shakes. In fact, he was getting booed by the Panthers fans in the middle of the game. They made a rush late, tallying up 17 points. Robbie Anderson started getting going, but I don't know, it's a good win on a day where kickers were missing potential game-winning field goals left and right. Katie York drilling that one from 58-yarder, the ace from space at the bell. So you do love to see it. Then you got the Colts and Texans, where my favorite anecdote from Sunday is that no one in the AFC South won and 2 of the teams played each other, which is just great. But the Colts and the Texans. So, the Texans blew this one. I like Davis Mills. I think that overall they are starting to assemble some talent out there with Nick Caserio and Lovie Smith, but they just blew this one. straight up. All right, so they had a 20-3 lead at home. You had the Colts on the ropes, and then Matt Ryan started coming back and ended up throwing for 352 yards. Jonathan Taylor-Thomas got going. Michael Pittman, I think, is going to be a young stud in this league. And then it just came up short. And then overtime was just garbaggio as well. It was tough to watch. Some of those way more exciting. So it's unfortunate because I had the Giants picked in my loser survivor pool. So, of course, that went out the window. But, props to Brian Daboll, man. And also, the Tennessee Titans just melting down, blowing that 13-point halftime lead. Giants coming back in. Saquon getting it done. Daniel Jones not looking like garbage at times. But then they scored a touchdown at the end. They decided to go for 2, and because Brian Daboll's got huevos, cojones, you love seeing it. They get it, a little shovel pass to Saquon. They get it done, and then the Titans had a chance to win at the end, but they miss the game-winning attempt. What's that like? I don't know what that's like. Vikings, yeesh. Just a very cathartic dismantling of the greasy, grimy Green Bay Packers, and Justin Jefferson. Coronation as the wide receiver 1 in the National Football League. I think it should be. Obviously, we talked about that game a lot. They got Chiefs and Cardinals. I voiced my concerns about the Cardinals before the start of the season, where it seemed like it was a lot of sizzle and no steak, where they lost Chandler Jones. Cliff Kingsbury has never been a consistent winner at any level other than the beginning part of NFL seasons. And, you got Zach Ertz. You got J.J. Watt. This team would have been good 5 years ago, sure. Kyler got paid all the money, had the clause in, he's got to study. But how much of Kyler was nuke? And I think that the Cardinals offense got exposed because, when you're missing one of the better wide receivers in the National Football League, your offense greatly suffers. And this was one-sided from the get. The Cardinals made it look respectable at the end, but this was not as close as the final score says. But so the Chiefs went out there. Patrick Mahomes is like, hey, Josh Allen, he had a big-time game. I don't have Tyreek Hill. Hold my beer. 5 freaking touchdowns. Just out there getting it done. Kelsey, of course, is still a monster, as well as Pacheco, the new running back with the Chiefs. Really interesting in terms of fantasy purposes. But, yeah, I think Mahomes, he's still all right. He's still a little bit of all right. Chargers getting it done at home against the Raiders. Rematch of that final Week 18 game that allowed the Raiders to get into the playoffs. But I think the Chargers are my vote to come out of the AFC. Even though the Bills seem like they're a juggernaut right now, I think the Chargers are fantastic. I think they're built very similarly to the Bills in the fact that they have a great defense. Brandon Staley, defensive mind. They got a great young quarterback, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen. Great weapons all over the place. I think Chargers have a little bit better offensive line, but yeah, Chargers got it done at home against a little bit of an upstart Raiders team. It took them about a half to really get the offense going. Then Carr and Devontae Adams got going. But just wasn't enough, and then the Chargers hold on at home. Then Sunday Night Football, waiting all day for Sunday night, bit of a snoozer. The Bucs kicked a myriad of field goals. They got 1 touchdown. Mike Evans, who should be a Hall of Famer, by the way, getting it done. Where kind of lethargic game overall. Like, even before Dak got hurt, the Cowboys just seemed out of it. I'm not sure if CeeDee Lamb is cut out to be a true blue wide receiver 1. I think that Amari being on the field really did a lot of good things for CeeDee. But, the Bucs, it was just sort of a grinded out meat and potatoes game. There wasn't any heroics by Brady necessarily. Fournette had himself another big game, a 127 on the ground. And they just wore him down. It's really about it. And it's unfortunate about Dak, just injured again. And yeah, I think it should impact his ranking because, everyone out there nationally sees Dak as a top 10 quarterback, except he's constantly, unfortunately, just missing time with these injuries, whether it be his ankle, whether now it be the thumb. It's just kind of sucks. But, now it could open things up. Do the Cowboys trade for Jimmy Garoppolo? Like, is that going down? Or you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Nah, they can't do that. I was going to say, trade for Tyler Huntley from the Ravens. That would be interesting. Trade for Bryce Perkins from the Rams, possibly. I was going to say, maybe we interest you in our finest Shawn Mannions, except he's on the stupid Seahawks practice squad right now. But Anyways, that's it. That's recapping the action around the league. Got one game to go. But, of course, if this week has been any indicator, watch the Seahawks and Geno Smith throw 5 touchdowns and upset the Broncos on Monday night. Would love to see it. But your thoughts and our thoughts. Take a look around the National Football League. Week 1. Love this game. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.